would say the toughest in trying to win.
Coming down for the finish of the 20th annual Talladega 500. Missouri's Ken Schrader in front.
Is the NASCAR Cup Series.
Bodine comes back up the middle at the line. Schrader.
When they're always bitching about Hocevar, I think I'd put him pretty high on the list because he's wanting to go fast.
Not going to make it.
It's going to be Ken Schrader winning the first qualifying heat race.
Awesome job of spot.
Well, hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Time for another episode of RaceLine. Our guest today, Ken Schrader, out in Fenton, Missouri, at the world headquarters of Ken Schrader Racing. It's good to see you there, young man. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing good, Rick, but the world headquarters has moved to Dittmer, Missouri.
Aha!
And I know it's Dittmer because we're right next to the post office.
Man, you have been my hero, and I think you and I talked about this along the way a few times. Since I was first starting out in this back in the 80s. You and I are about the same age.
If you were going to say since you were a young kid, I was really going to have a problem.
No. But, and one of the things I've always admired about you is you can drive any kind of car. I mean, you have been great in everything you've gotten into. I remember reading about you when you won the USAC Sprint Car Championship. Are those the toughest cars you've ever driven from a driver's perspective?
I don't know what's the toughest. Well, yeah, I think I do. I would say the toughest in trying to win is the NASCAR Cup Series. Those guys that got there are so good, and they work their way up there, and the teams are all so good that it makes it really hard.
Have you had a chance to drive one of the new generation Cup cars?
No, I haven't. I was too old when I quit driving the other ones. Haven't driven these. I was listening to Chase Briscoe get talking to Christopher Bell and him telling him about how bad his stuff drove before when he was Stuart Haas. And he said, "Oh no," I said, "Chase, this is going to drive just as bad. It's not going to drive good. You're just going to go faster." So I'm a pretty big fan of them guys. They're I know they got their hands full.
When you see a young guy like Chase Briscoe, relatively young guy, have success, and he comes from the same kind of background you do. His dad, Kevin, was a great sprint car driver. Chase was a great open-wheel driver. Does that make you even more convinced that dirt is the way to go for a young driver to learn?
You know what? I don't really think it is. I think that if luckily my son didn't like anything about it, and that was great. But if son did, and you're working with unlimited budget, then you start him out on the asphalt, and then, you can run him on some dirt and get some laps and learn some different things there about car control and that. But, you learn a lot on the dirt, but there's a lot of habits you got to break when you start going asphalt racing. Because
of the tendency to try to drive the car with a throttle on dirt?
Well, the throttle and, just when it slips a little bit, you're not really that worried about it. When you slip those tires on those cup cars and stuff, they don't like it, and it hurts you.
As you look around at your operation today, and you've gone back to your roots driving those dirt modifieds, how tough are they to race from your perspective?
Well, I don't think anything's that tough. It's just the competition. I mean, everybody buys the same stuff now. There's 4 or 5 major car manufacturers. We work pretty much exclusively with Lethal Chassis, David Stremme out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But everybody's got good stuff. Everybody's got good engines, and we're all on the same tires. Setups keep changing, but depending on the association and the rules, everybody knows what everybody's doing. So it just makes it really competitive, and which makes it harder.
As I look back at your incredible record, 29 seasons in the Cup Series, almost 800 starts, a bunch of wins. I think you hold the record for one of the most amazing accomplishments to me that a driver's ever put together. You have won in every major touring division of NASCAR, including the Pinty Series in Canada. You're the only guy who's done that. How did you pull that off?
Well, the main thing they judge you by and they pay you by is those wins on Sundays in the Cup cars, and we didn't have near enough of those.
Yeah.
But we won a lot of other stuff. The Pinty's deal was pretty cool because that was just 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Up at Oshwegan Speedway. So that was a lot of fun. Drove for Kyle Steckley's family team, and they got good stuff. And it made it made the job a whole lot easier.
When you got out of USAC in the early 80s and came to NASCAR in 84, and I was doing radio back then on MRN, were you able to carry a not very good car to the front the way today? It seems like that can't be done nearly as easily as it could back then.
Well, I was very fortunate that I never drove a not very good car. I drove 5 races for Elma Langley.
Yeah.
That was a lot smaller, underfunded team, but he knew what to do to the cars.
Yeah.
And it's not like we ran good or anything, but we'd qualified midfield, and then we had a lot of ignition problems and stuff. We never really finished good, but we didn't hit anything, and we finished, qualified okay. Because of that, we got hired to drive for Mr. Donlevy. Mr. Donlevy had good stuff, just no budget.
Yeah.
But they knew what to do with their stuff, and we were able to be there for 3 years. So we drove some underfunded stuff, and I was trying to learn stuff. So I had finished races to learn something. And when you're driving for the underfunded teams, you got to finish races to get as much money as you can and tear up as little as you can. So compared to now, what it did is it really let me learn stuff. Instead of now, them kids get thrown in those cars, and it's like, you got to go. You got to go. You got to perform. And
you don't get nearly as much time today to prove yourself, do you?
No, I wasn't under that pressure. So, that was a tremendous help.
Was Junie the best car owner you ever drove for? I think you told me that once.
You know what? I can't say that. He was, so well respected in the garage area and stuff. I was so lucky that some of the people that I drove for, most all the people, I got to drive some great people. I mean, went from Junies to Mr. Hendricks to Andy Petrie's to MB2 racing with Jay Fry. I mean, wound up at BAM and Frankie Stoddard. I was very fortunate with the teams and the people, mainly the people that I got to drive for.
You are a racer's racer. You always have been. And you just mentioned an all-star list of guys who are also racers, I think, in a lot of ways. When you drove for Andy and then Frankie Stoddard, guys who've raced themselves, did that make it easier from your perspective?
Well, part of it was easier, but you couldn't bullshit them because they knew the difference. But yeah, it was pretty neat. Now, it was a lot different when I drove for Andy than when I drove for Frankie, because Andy was trying to win races.
Yeah.
We finished 10th in points the first year we were over there. And I had left Hendrick Motorsports to go over there. But now when I drove for Frankie, we were just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive. And you talk about a low budget. He definitely had a low budget, but he concentrated as hard as he could, put the best stuff out there that he could within the budget.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the story for a lot of these teams today. No question about that. Today, you've been active not long ago in SRX. What was that experience like?
That was a lot of fun. I was actually quite honored at the start when Everham called me and said, "Hey, I want you to test this stuff for us." And I'm like, "Really? Why me?" And he says, "Because you've driven so much different junk, and we're not trying to make this thing perfect. We're just trying to get it where everyone can come in and drive it." Which they were basically road race frames, and we run them on short track pavements and short track dirts. It was a lot of fun. They hired David Stremme to come in along with myself pretty quick, and we did all the testing, and then I got to run it for a year, which was a lot of fun.
What was the problem there? Why did that not succeed in the racing marketplace? You're a promoter. You own a couple of racetracks. Why did that not work out?
Well, racing and budgets. you know, just budgets. And they came up short on budget to, I guess, purchase the TV time that they needed to satisfy all the sponsors and to grow the sponsorship income. So it just came up short. Ray and them did a great job with it.
Yeah.
It just didn't wind up working.
Now, and again, this goes back, I know, a long ways. You've been part of the ownership group at I-55, and there's one in Illinois you're part owner of too, right?
Let me give you a little update there. We been involved with I-55 for 30 years until this spring.
Wow.
And we both, my partner Ray and Sue Marler and myself, have sold it. And we sold Macon and Paducah several years ago. So I am out of the racetrack ownership business, and now I can go to all three of them and bitch about everything.
Complain about the promoter or the purse size, right?
Complain about the purse and everything, yes.
What's the biggest challenge that a short track promoter faces today?
Oh, well, first off, the internet. The internet, because it tells you about the weather. And if the weather forecast is bad, you know, everybody looks at their phone and, well, we're not going. The internet will also get you a lot of really cheap advertising. Everybody also complains, and they complain more than they praise when things go bad versus when things go good. But just getting the people out, getting the competitors, which I understand the competitor side because, you know, we have priced ourselves about out of business. You know, a lot of racetracks have closed up, which I don't really have a problem with, because just because you own a racetrack doesn't mean it's supposed to be open and making money, because it's just like a restaurant. If you've got bad service and a bad facility and just do a terrible job with your fan comfort, and you're not going to be open very long, and racetrack's no different.
One of the first things I remember Bill France Sr. telling me, he was still around a little bit in the early 80s when I was getting started, was you've got to have good bathrooms at these places because your wife's not going to want to come with you to the racetrack.
I-55 Federate Auto Parts Raceway, which it still is.
I see it over your shoulder there.
Yes,
you're still
yes.
Federate, and on your shirt. That's great.
This is year 26.
That's great. That's great.
So we're gonna milk this deal as long as we can. we just do anything they want us to do, and they've been very good to us and let us do about anything we want to do too.
Yeah, and that's those relationships that you have long term. To me, that's always friends like you, businesses that want to work with you for a long term. That's what makes this sport so great, I think, those long term friendships, right?
Well, there's a lot of long term friendships in our sport. Business, whatever you want to call it, and you never know who you're going to be working with or with again.
Yeah, you got to be careful on the way up because you may see those people on the way back down, right?
Yeah, that's why I never went very high. I just went part way. So.
All right, so you did something a few years ago that, to me, again, your resume, the most accomplished driver I've ever known in a variety of different race cars. You ran the Little 500 sprint car race just a few years ago. I've televised that race several times. What was that like from a driver's perspective? Because I always thought that was the nuttiest thing I'd ever heard of. Hot pit stops in a sprint car, 500 laps on a quarter mile with an X pit road. I mean,
yeah, we ran it 6 times. Irish Saunders from Hoosier called me and said, "Hey, I need you to go test the sprint car for the Little 500."
This was back, only 8 or 9 years ago, right?
Yeah, it might have been 10 now, but right at that. We ran it 6, and we haven't run it maybe the last 3. So I had 8, 9, 10, whatever. And I said, I for sure don't want to do that. And I went with the Armstrong people, Brad and Tara, and we wound up going back and running a race, and barely made it in by the skin of the teeth. Finished 9th, 10th the first year, went back second year, finished 9th, and broke a year, and then finished 8th, and broke a year, and then I drove for Seymour's, and we were in good shape. We were
Boston Louis kids now, right, Mike?
Yes,
And those guys,
yes. And grandson, Matt.
Yeah.
Which Matt Seymour on racing. Matt Seymour Racing on all the Seymour stuff now. So I guess he owns it. I don't know. At least he thinks he does. But anyway, we were in good shape. We were one lap down, running eighth or ninth, at a lap like 210. Well, you got to make a pit stop by lap 250, and we'd already made ours.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were in great shape, but it broke. And I don't think I've been back since. But after we went the first year, okay, we went there, did it. It was never on my bucket list, so I don't have to worry about going back. But my wife asked me, she said, you going to drive for Brad and Tara again next year? And I said, oh, I'm not going again. She said, well, you might as well, because I'm taking the motorhome and going, because she thought that was, she just thought that was the best show there was. And it is quite the event.
It is packed every time. It's the night before the Indy 500, of course, up at Anderson Speedway there, and it is the craziest race. I have seen demo derbies. I have seen figure eight racing everywhere. That is the nuttiest thing I have ever been around.
Yeah.
Hands
Well,
down.
you can see all that night.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Sometimes there's a demo derby.
Yeah.
It's amazing how and the field keeps getting tighter and tighter as far as times.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how close 33 cars are on a quarter mile, and how little problems they have. And Rick Dawson owns the facility. The drivers' meeting, it's like, all right, on this start, don't mess up my photo, because he wants a photo of the start, and everybody better be in line.
Yeah,
but it's a fantastic event.
It's incredible, and to think that you're wheeling an 800 horsepower, 1,200 pound car around this quarter mile high bank track in 11 seconds? A lot of times, 12 seconds.
Yeah, they're down in the low tens now.
Yeah,
they're down in the low 10, and that horsepower deal is really changed in the last couple of years, because maybe about 650 is a better number, because you just can't use it. Everybody's went smaller.
Yeah, lighter car, lighter small block Chevy in there. Yeah, good stuff. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about IROC. You raced in the original IROC back in the day, and you were back driving one of those cars with Ray Evernham and a lot of other legends in the sport out at Laguna Seca a couple of weeks ago. What was that like?
It was very much fun. We did it at Lime Rock Park last year. Ray called me maybe start of last year and said, don't you have an IROC car? And we had already moved to St. Louis, St. Dittmer. And I said, I did. I left that damn thing in Charlotte. It was at one of the museums. So he went over and got it, and a bunch of us went to Lime Rock last year. We went to Laguna this year. Ray and Rob Kaufman have purchased the IROC name or whatever, and they're really creating some enthusiasm, some excitement with it.
Were you able to really race in which car did you have? Did you have a Camaro from back in the day? Avenger. Okay.
I ran it in 95.
Wow.
It's the car last race I ran. It was that car.
So how competitive is it at a place like, have you ever been to Laguna Seca before, or was that your first time out there?
That was my first time out there. What a beautiful facility. I mean, the whole country is out there. But that's one little problem we have right now. What Ray's doing. There's some of us that want to take our cars, because there's 3 or 4 of us that own our own cars, and go out there and do the event and have fun. And then there's some people that have purchased some of these cars that think we're going out to race. And it's not a race.
Yeah.
Well, it is if there's 2 guys racing, then it's a race. But anyway, and my car ran Michigan the last time it ran. It's got different gear and left front camber, and that's basic changes. So let's see what's going to happen there. They've already got deals scheduled next spring at the 10/10 Speedway in
Charlotte.
Charlotte Speedway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to see what happens with the IROC series.
So is Ray massaging those cars, changing the setups on like your car, for example, to make it more of a road course setup, or is it just as is?
I hope not. We just want to go there and have fun, and it has been a lot of fun. And I don't think, unless a whole bunch of these, unless get a whole bunch of enthusiasts that buy these cars, which more and more of them are, and want to actually race them, then I don't see that happening as far as it going and being a real race. But it can be a heck of an exhibition.
Well, exactly. And to see you and some of the other legendary names in the sport, I looked at the entry list for Laguna and I thought, man, if I was able to go, I'd have bought a ticket to see you and see all those other cats run those cars.
You would have enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. But, that whole weekend is the vintage cars. And,
yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you talk about racing. There's tractor trailers and full-time crews out there racing for a lanyard or whatever, medal to stand on the stage and on the podium and get 3 afterwards. Well, I didn't grow up racing for that.
No.
Yeah.
Vintage racing is a whole lot different today from racing for a paycheck, which is what you've always done. So that's a whole different thing. All right, I got 2 questions to wrap it up. And Ken, thank you so much for making time for us here on RaceLine. One is, my next guest is going to be Ricky Craven, and he just bought a racetrack. What are your words of advice to him?
What did Ricky buy?
He bought Speedway 95 up in Maine, place I've been years and years ago, one of the places he started at.
Poor guy. Poor guy. No, you know what? I'm a huge Ricky Craven fan. I think Ricky can do about whatever he sets his mind out to do. He better get ready because there'll be some challenges that you're never even expect. I know that's a little pavement place.
Yeah.
Because Ricky was a pavement guy, but no, it can be good. It can be fun. There's a few bucks to be made at it at times. Get ready because your buddies will turn on you in a heartbeat over $100.
And I just thought of this. The connection between you two. Didn't he follow you in the 25 car at Hendrick?
Yes, he did. Yes. Yeah. And he got hurt. I mean, he got hurt the first year, I believe, in it. And, And, he got hurt good at Texas, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. But Rick, I've always been a Ricky fan.
Yeah. Well, me too. I'm looking forward to that conversation. But this has been wonderful. All right, one more question, and this is one of those things I'm trying to ask everybody that comes on the show with us. If you were starting a Cup team today, who are the 4 drivers you would hire?
Well, I don't know yet because they haven't come to me and told me what kind of budget they were bringing.
Forget the budget, just on talent. Who would you hire?
Oh man, well. You got to go with Kyle, but Kyle would be,
Kyle Larson or Kyle Busch?
Kyle Larson.
Okay.
Nothing against Kyle Busch, but Kyle Larson. But Kyle Larson, he only wants to be there for X amount longer, whatever that is. Don't know what that number is, but that's, and he's got all that other stuff he wants to do, which is fine because I did it all.
Yeah.
But if I was paying somebody, I don't know if I'd want them to do all that. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell. There's a bunch of them. But I tell you what, and I don't really know him. I haven't talked to him. But when they're always bitching about Hocevar, I think I'd put him pretty high on the list because he's wanting to go fast.
Yeah, and that's kind of old school, not being afraid who you tick off on a Sunday afternoon, right?
Yeah, well, he's when the days that his stuff's running, you know it, and even when the days it's not like he wants, he's still gonna get close.
Yeah,
so, I don't know, Ben. I am so proud of all them guys, and I think I'm older, and when you get older, nothing is as good as it used to be. And I got a lot of friends like that.
Yeah.
But I think that NASCAR Cup racing has never been as good as it is now. And I argue with people, not argue with them, I just tell them they're stupid. But I argue with them all the time because you don't know who's going to win that race. These guys are racing their asses off. When I hear people talk about the 90s, it's like, are you kidding? It wasn't as good as competitive. I didn't like the stages when they came up with that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, it's 2 yellow flags is all it is.
Yeah.
That you know when they're coming, and it gives you strategy. If you're not running good, you can pit earlier, do whatever. It does that. I didn't like the playoffs. I'm caught up in that now.
Yeah.
You gotta be this good, and then go race. Or you go race. So I'm just a fan. I think they're doing a lot of stuff really good. The only problem is in our country, not in our sport, but you can't make anybody happy anyway. So it doesn't make any difference what they're doing.
Well, my friend, you have made a lot of people who've watched you over the years, including me, very happy to say we call you a friend, and just honored that you take time to be on the show with me here today.
Well, Rick, I'd do anything. I'm sorry that we had our little confusion when I was in Canada on a motorcycle, but we got her done.
All good. All good, my friend. All the best. Stay safe. Say hi to Ann for me, and I'll look forward to seeing you down the road.
All right, Rick.
The great Ken Schrader with us here on RaceLine.